This page right here holds every single series that I have started but not continued, started and continued, series that I started in 2025 that I've continued on with in 2026, and then series that I have finished this year in 2026. And I don't know how many series that is, but we'll be finding out together. And we give a shout. I hope you know how to count because you need to know for the end of this video. Hi, hello, welcome and welcome back, Bookish Besties, to another video. As you can see by today's title, we are going to be doing my series catch up. In the beginning of the year, I told you every series that I am currently in the middle of. It was either the beginning of this year or towards the end of last year. I list off every single series I was in the middle of. And honestly, I have not finished that many series this year. And that is something we're definitely going to work toward for the latter half of this year, for basically the rest of the month, basically the rest of July and on. And I'm super excited to get into this because we have a lot of series to talk about. We have, like I said at the beginning, I have series that I have started but not continued on with, which means I have literally only read the first book in the series, but there are more books that I could read in the series. There are series that I have started this year and continued on with, and then there are also series that I have discontinued, which means they were dragged over from 2025 into 2026, and I've continued reading them this year. And then there are the series that I have finished this year. I do have one series, and one series only, I believe it is, where I am caught up because book one came out last year, and I read book one this year, and that is the Braid of Fate series by Bridget Kemmerer. That is the series that starts with Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kemmerer. The only one book is out. That's the one book that I am currently in the middle of that I am caught up with because book two does not come out until later this year. So, with that being said, let's hop into everything else that we have here because this is a lot. And we're gonna start off with the series that I have obviously started this year but not have continued on with. Grab a drink, grab a snack. Let's get right into this because I think there are probably about 30 plus series here. First up, I feel like this is the only way to start this, is I started the Bride series by Ali Hazelwood, and I have not continued on with it. I do have May sitting up on my shelves waiting for me to read, and I think I may try to read it in the series and like a continuing series video. I don't know if there are going to be more than two books in this series. I do know that there's at least one more book, and once I read that book, I would be caught up. And I don't know if there's going to be more or not. So for the time being, whenever I read Mate, I will just put it in my finished series column that I have in my Notion. But yeah, I've started this. I read this back in like March. Really, 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 really enjoyed it, and just need to continue on with it. I don't know why I haven't. Next up, a series I recently started was The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is her other series. This is her more like popular series, I believe. I feel like The Naturals is very underhyped. But I recently read The Inheritance Games in in a 48-hour readathon that I did. I didn't like it as much as I did the first time around. I've read the first two books of the series. I was never continuing on with it, but I remembered absolutely zero zilch enough to just start off where I left off. So this was like reading the book for the very first time. And I liked it slightly less than I did a few years ago when I read it. Because I think a few years ago when I read it, I gave it like a high four. This time I gave it a 3.5. I still have the last two books of the series to read, and I think there's a spin-off series that comes after the series, but don't quote me on that. We'll see if I even get that far, because if I don't like books two and three in the series, I don't think I'll read any more in the series. Next up, we have the Fae and Alchemy series by Callie Hart. This is Quicksilver. The series consists of Quicksilver and Brimstone by Callie Hart, the third book, which I don't think we have a title for, did get pushed back into 2027, which I'm slightly upset about because I read this year knowing that book three was going to come out this year and that I could finish the series in 1 year. And then it got pushed back. And I was like, no. But you know what? If that makes her write a better book three, then so be it. I'll be more than willing to reread books one and two to prepare for the release of book 3 because these are some chunky books. There's a lot that happens in this book itself. It's why I tabbed it because it is a chunky book and there is a lot that goes on in this book. This is 600 pages, and I believe book 2 is just as long. It's actually up there, and I'm supposed to be reading it for a TikTok vlog, but I have yet to do so yet. I've just been in the middle of so many other things, and there are so many other things grabbing my attention. I just haven't continued on with this yet, but I want to, so that way I can say I'm caught up with it. That way, if I don't want to, I don't have to technically reread books 1 and 2, but I know I probably will because it'll be over a year since I've read these two by the time book 3 comes out. Next up, we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson. This is my first ever Holly Jackson book that I've read. I tried to read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder a few years ago. I never finished it. It just wasn't my genre at the time. But as I diversify myself and read more mystery thrillers, all of those, all of the above, I realized that mystery thrillers are right up my alley. I love a good one. And I read this one in a trying to get out of a slump video that I posted a couple months ago. I really enjoyed it. I have not continued on with it. This is another one that I want to include in a continuing series vlog because I really, really enjoyed book 1 and I have such high hopes for books 2 and 3 that they could be potential 5 freaking stars. So that makes me super excited to read both of them. I've just having continuing on with it, I use these as palette cleansers when I'm tired of romantasy. And right now, I'm in a romantasy/romantasy mood. I'm in a romance mood, I think. So I don't know. We'll see when I get around to this, but I definitely want to continue on with it. The next series that I have for you is the Kindred's Curse Saga. This is a series that is very, very beloved everywhere you see. Really? As I was saying, this series is very, very beloved no matter where you see it, whether it be on BookTube, Book Talk, Bookstagram. People have been waiting years for the release of book 4 in this series. And it's finally coming out later this year, so I thought, why not start it? I have yet to continue on with it. I think I'm going to be reading these books as audiobooks because I've had a weird experience with Spark of the Everflame. I've read it 3 times now. The first time I read it, 4 stars. The second time I read it, put me in a slump and gave it 2 stars. The third time that I most recently read it, I gave it like a 3.5. And I want to continue on and read Glow of the Everflame, and it's actually been sitting on my nightstand by my bed for about a month or 2 now since finishing book 2 because I was very tempted to go straight into book 2 when I finished it. I didn't do that because I don't tend to like to do that. I'm not a series binger. I know there are people out there who are. I personally am not. I like to have little breaks in between or months worth of a break in between books and series, which I want to work on, but I digress. I've started the series. I really don't want to continue on with it. Maybe, hopefully, around the time book 4 comes out, so that way I'll have the audiobook available to me when it comes out. So we'll see what happens though. We have the DC Star series by Chelsea Curto. This is a hockey romance series. I think this is an adult hockey romance series instead of like a college hockey romance series. I did not think I was going to be reading this series. It was actually on a do not read list, will never be reading list for a really long time. But then someone I like watching on BookTube read it and really enjoyed it. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. And I actually have a weird story for book 1. I DNF'd it. I was reading it in a continuing series vlog, not a continuing series vlog, in a getting out of a slump vlog, and I DNF'd it in that vlog. And then the next vlog I did of trying to get out of my slump, I finished a book. And these videos were filmed maybe like days apart. Okay. So yeah, I'm actually really interested in book 2. It's like a grumpy sunshine book, which I love a good grumpy sunshine book. Like I know it's basic. I know it's probably overdone. But a grumpy sunshine, when it is done right, it is done right. I don't mean like he's literally just a bully. I mean like he's just like, a grumpy sunshine. And I cannot wait to continue on with the series. I'm hoping to do that soon. I really need to hop on doing a continuing series vlog every month to keep myself accountable with the series that I am in the middle of. So next up, we have Ironside Academy by Jane Washington. This is a Why Choose Romantasy book. I read book one in June, I believe it was. I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't enjoy it. Like I liked it enough to keep going, and I need to read book two to really figure out if I'm going to read the whole entirety of the six-book series that this is. But this book is following our main character who has 10 mates, which is absolutely insane to me. I don't know why it's 6 books long, because nothing really happens during book one. It's actually quite boring. I still give it a 3.5 because there were still moments that I really, really enjoyed from it, but then there were also those moments that I did not enjoy from it. So we'll see if I actually continue on and like finish the series. But I at least want to read book two before I just DNF it. Next up, we have the Carval series by Stephanie Garber. This is another one that I read in June, I believe. Yeah, it was June. I actually started this back in like April, and it took me way too long to freaking read it, for being honest. But it just wasn't on the forefront of my mind. I honestly forgot this was on my currently reading list. But then I decided to say screw it, and I read this book. I listened to the audiobook actually, and I really enjoyed it. Um, and so I actually really like this in some parts, and then there were other parts I just did not like. I do plan on continuing on with it. This is another one that I feel like in order for me to read it, it's gonna have to like pop up for like a themed vlog, or like I said, do a spinner wheel for a couple episodes to kind of force myself to continue on in series that I'm not so sure about, to give them a fair chance. I don't want to DNF it after one book. The only time I would ever DNF after one book is if book one is like 2 stars or below. I have a couple of those. We don't need to talk about them. I won't be talking about them. There's no point in that. But I do want to continue on in this one. The next series we have is the Wolf King series. I've started it, and I have book two from my library right now. I sure do. I picked this up with the intentions of trying to pick it up and read. I picked this up from my library with the intentions to read it soon and listen to the audiobook like I did book one. I just haven't been in the mood for it like I thought I was when I picked this up at the library. I was like, I should read this. I want to read this. I want to try and see if I can complete it this weekend. I'm gonna do some sprints. Me and my best friend are gonna do some sprints this weekend. And we're gonna sit down and read as much as we can this weekend. I'm also going to be doing a 24-hour readathon, which was impromptu, but it's because of Mel's Patreon. I'm on Mel's Patreon, and she started a 24-hour readathon impromptu, and she's like, anybody want to join? And I was like, yeah. A bunch of people were like, yes. And so now I'm doing a 24-hour readathon very impromptu. Like it was, but I digress. I just haven't picked this up yet, but I want to because I'm intrigued, but also this would make me catch up with the series until book three comes out. So the next one we have is the Adrian X Isidore series, which is starts with King of Battle and Blood. The only other book in the series is Queen of Myth and Monsters. I don't know how many books are supposed to be in the series because book two came out. I don't even know how long ago, and there was no release date for book three, or there was, but then it never came out. And now Scarlett St. Clair is writing other books and other series. So there hasn't been any word about when book three in this series is going to come out, but this is not high on my priority list at all by any means. I gave book one a very low 3 star rating. I honestly probably could have given it like a 2.5, 2.75, but I still ended up really enjoying it. And thinking back on it, I really liked the experience I had with the book, although the book was not very good. I actually found it quite annoying. Another one that was just a lot of smut heavy, and like it was just mind boggling. This book was mind boggling to say the least. And I don't know whether that was because it was on the audio book, but like even when I'm listening on audio, I'm doing like mindless tasks where I could tell you plot things that happen in this book and the smut that happened in this book. So I don't know what it is. I just was not very interested in this one, but I do want to read book two to see where the story goes, where the plot goes, and all of the above, because some things happen at the end of this book that have me intrigued for what could happen in the future. Next up, we have Heavenly Bodies. I read Heavenly Bodies. I feel like I've touched on this book in every single video that I have filmed for my mid-year content stuff. And you know what? That's not shocking. But I am in the middle of the series. There is one other book that is out currently, this is another one where the release date for the third book in the series got pushed out into March of next year, which I'm not mad about, honestly, because that gives me more time to cope with however book two is going to go, because I'm still trying to cope with the ending of this one. Okay, if you know, you know, I did cry. I don't think many people cried on this book, but because I was so emotionally attached to these characters and felt like I was in this book with them when I was reading this, who was shocked? No one, not even me. So I am putting off book two a bit, but I also want to read it physically, and I'm currently on a book buying ban. The moment I buy a book again, Fallen Stars is going to be like one of the first books that I buy when I can buy books again, because I need to read it. I need to have it in my hands, holding it and being able to flip through the book and read the book, because I had such a good time with this one. I am not expecting book two to be as good, okay? Like, I'm lowering my expectations for book two, but I also have a feeling that no matter how it goes, it's going to be 5 stars. I said what I said. Next up, we have the Veronica Speedworld series by Deanna Raybourn. I actually, another one that I really, really enjoyed. I give this book a 4.5. This is like one of my most shocking books I have read this year, because I did not know how I was going to like this. Because this is a historical mystery book with a subplot of romance. And as we all know, I don't really read historical. I also don't read mystery a lot. So those two things combined into one was like iffy, but then I really, 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 really enjoyed this, and I actually have book two already on my shelves. Like, I finished this book and I went and ordered this and book two off of Pango to have on my shelf so I can read. I actually have been eyeing book two to pick up to potentially read in the near future, so that could be coming your way in a vlog soon. But I digress. This is one that I've just been putting off reading. These books are actually pretty short, as you can see, so they're not long at all, and I could read these in like two, maybe three sittings if I'm really like putting off finishing it or whatever. But I want to continue on. I want to try and get like halfway through the series, because there's like 9 or 10 books out in this series currently. So I would like to be like halfway through the series by the time we talk about it again. But we'll see if that actually happens. The next series we have is the Beast of the Briar series by Elizabeth Helen. I actually need to read books two and three for my summer TBR, although book three is the only one I really have on my TBR for the summer. I have not made a dent in my summer TBR, so that's something that I really need to strive for in July and August, to at least read half of that. Um, and it's not that I forgot about it. I've just been heavily mood reading so much that I just haven't been mood reading from that. But there are a couple books on there that will be getting read soon. I can guarantee that, because I'm in the mood. Okay. I am in the mood. So yeah, I enjoyed the series. I really enjoyed it so much so that I had to go out and buy book one a couple weeks later, because I was just enjoying it so freaking much. It shocked me how much I was enjoying this. Cannot lie to you. But yeah, this is one that I just haven't continued on with, but I really need to. And I really want to, especially because the series is being finished this year. So like, that makes it all the better. Next up, we have the Haunted Omega series by April Moon. This is an Omegaverse series. I read book one to kind of help me avoid a slump a couple months ago, and I haven't continued on with it. This is another one that I'm probably only going to read like in between palette cleansers, help me get out of a slump, because these are quick, easy, simple. Um, I mean, there's a plot, but there's not much of a plot in these. So yeah, I read the first one, which like faded to the Wolf Prince or something, and then the next one is like faded to the Rogue Wolf or the something Wolf. I don't know, whatever it is. That's what the next one is, and like I said, I would really like to continue on with the series. I just, another one that's like palette cleanser, not a priority. And last but not least, in this started but not continued series portion of this video, we have the Edge of Darkness series by Lee Rivers. I have read the first book in the series, gave it 5 stars. One of my top books of the year. I have not stopped thinking about Kate and Stacy since finishing this book. I'm just nervous because this series is going to destroy me. It's going to make me sad. It's going to make me depressed. It's going to make me rethink my thoughts. Like, I just know this series is going to break me in the worst way imaginable. So yeah, I just haven't continued on with it. I read book one in May, We're now in July. It's been nearly 2 months since I finished. It's been 2 months since I finished this book. I finished this book at the beginning of May, and I haven't yet to continue on with it. But I digress. I digress. We're going to soon. I promise. I have a video planned for it. So the next section we have is one where I have started but not continued the series in 20. I mean, started and continued in 2026, which means I have read the first book and its sequel or sequels this year in 2026. And there's not many of these, just because I haven't continued on the series that I've started, as we can see by the ginormous stack of series that I've started but haven't continued. But we can say we have continued some series that I've started this year, and that's a pat on the back, okay? First up, we have the Secret Shanghai series by Chloe Gong. This is the I've read These Are the Lights and Our Violent Ends. After this comes her second duology set in this world with some characters we see from this book in that series. And technically, you could read them as two separate series, but they interconnect and make one big world called the Secret Shanghai series. And so I am halfway through it basically. I would like to have a physical book of book 3 and 4 for me to read because that's how I read these. I read them physically with the audiobook also. So that's how I would like to read the rest of the series as well. I really enjoyed the series so far from what I've read. I really loved the Romeo and Juliet retelling. While this wasn't 5 stars by any means necessary, it was still really good. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. We'll still talk about and recommend these books because I just enjoyed them so heavily. Next up, we have the Defy the Night series by Bridget Kimmerer. Bridget Kimmerer popping up in here twice. It's kind of wild, but I've done well with her as I have discovered her. I've read Defy the Night and Defend the Dawn in this series. Um, so I read books 1 and 2, and I literally only have book 3. So by the time I am filming this video for the end of the year, I will have finished the series. Fingers crossed I don't put it off until next year, but I really want to finish the series. I'm actually thinking about putting a hold on book 3 so I can get that soon and listen to the audiobook for that, like I've done for books 1 and 2. But this series is one that I have really, really enjoyed. After reading Warrior Princess Assassin, I was like, I want more Bridget Kimmerer. So I went into this series not knowing what to expect. And I have really, 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 really enjoyed it. I want to read everything Bridget Kimmerer now. Like, I want to be her #1 fan. Like, if not, Bridget Kimmerer has no fans, I'm not alive. Okay, that's the type of fan I want to be. Next series that I have started and continuing on with is the Mortal Instrument series. I am actually about to borrow, if I can, book 3 from Libby because I've tried listening to the audiobooks of these to help me get through them because these are some long chapters. If you know, you know, okay? This book is 480 something pages long, and we only have about, hold on, because this is the epilogue. I only have, let's see, I finally got past the epilogue. We only have 23 series, and I mean 23 chapters, and chapter 23 starts on page 435 and ends on 467. Yeah, these are some very long chapters, and although the chapter breaks are nice, you should just do whole new chapters because why does everything that happened in that one chapter? Why does the chapter need 30 pages long? But I digress. I'm still really enjoying it. This is my like Shadowhunters dive. I have not dived too far into this, and I've taken a couple months break after finishing book 2. But I'm ready to dive back into it and continue on and get to like Clockwork Angel and the Chain of Gold, the Lady of Midnight, like all of that. So I'm actually really excited to get to book 3 in this series and be finished with the first arc of the Mortal Instrument series to go into like the Clockwork Angel series. I'm excited but also scared. We have the Brought the series by TJ Maguire. I have read Brought the Bride and Brought the Prince in this series. This is a 5 book mafia romance series that I am devouring. I gave book 1 like 4.25, 4.5. I gave book 1 a 4.75. And there was something missing from it. Like there's like a touch of something missing from it, but I still really, really like heavily enjoyed this one. Definitely my favorite out of the 2. I can't wait to read book 3 because it's a second chance romance, and I think I have read maybe like 2 or 3 of those ever before. So I'm excited to see how this one goes, how our like characters who are in this relationship ended up breaking up in the first place. I'm ready to see how they get back together, how they resolve all of this, because the MMC, the crumbs we've gotten from him in books 1 and 2, this could be my favorite. This could be my favorite, but I also believe the last three in the series could also be my favorite, because book 5 in the series is a stalker. Anyways, I really enjoyed the series so far. Look at what trigger warnings before going into the series because it is dark. Next series up, I have started my reread of The Man's First. This was even before we got an announcement of book 6 and the ACOTAR series coming out. My best friend wanted to read the series, so I placed a hold on Throne of Glass in February. I didn't get it until April. I digress though. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I've read Throne of Glass. I have read this in kind of midnight as I'm sitting here recording this video. I actually have suspended the hold for the Assassin's Blade because I'm not really in the mood for that right now. The way we're going to do that is read over 5 days for the 5 novellas, so one novella a day over 5 days. And I'm not ready for that commitment right now. I have other things I need to do and read that I want to read, and so does she. So we're putting it off a little bit, and then once we're ready for it, we'll go to it and read it and continue on with the Throne of Glass series. But for now, it's on pause. But I'm really excited to be back in this world reading the series again. When I first read the series, I read all the way up until Queen of Shadows and was about to do the tandem read, and then yeah, stopped reading it. I don't know why. I don't remember why. I don't remember what the reason was, but yeah. I'm super excited. She's enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. We have actually roped in our other best friend to be reading it with us, and they're actually reading book 2 kind of midnight right now. So I'm super excited for all three of us to be reading this together and experiencing this together, especially because they're literally my best friends. I have known them for years and I love them dearly. Next up, we have the Bonds That Tie series by Jay Breed. This is a Why Choose Romantasy series that I read a couple years ago, back in 2023. Remembered zero and zilch about it because I read them so fast. I was reading these books back to back to back to back. I am not doing that this time around, although I am about to listen to book 3 here shortly. It's on Neverend, and I'm going to use one of my credits for the month for it. Because I'm absolutely batshit insane. But I digress. I have read books 1 and 2 in the series. I feel like that's very common with a lot of these that I have. I think of all of these that I have, I've read at least the first 2 books in. No, literally all of them. First 2 books only, but I digress. I This is another 6 book series. I'm taking my time with it. I'm not in a rush with it. I did read 2 books of it in June. I read books 1 and 2 in June, so maybe I can read books 2 and 3 in July. We'll see if that actually happens. I don't know if it will or not, but I know at least I want to read book 3. But with this one, I am really liking it. Not much has happened with her plot wise. We're actually about to dive deep into it, I believe, starting in book 3, which makes me excited. And also, book 3 starts the multi POV because books 1 and 2 are single POV of only our FNC, which I enjoy. But I'm ready for some male POVs to see how they feel about Ollie, because I have a feeling that some of them are not saying as much as they want to say to her. And last but not least, in this section of series I've started and continued in 2026, we have the Housemaid series. I actually have the Housemaid's Watching, which is the last book I need to read in this series. I'm very scared for how this one's gonna go, but I also have a feeling that I know how it's going to end based off the synopsis, and it makes me regret reading the synopsis. But I digress. I started this in May. I read book 1 in May, read book 2 in June, and now I'm about to read book 3 in July. So I feel like that's a very great way to do series, is read one a month, and then you have a great time. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, and I think I might start doing that with all my big series. But I digress. Who knew that reading a book a month will help you get through a series faster? I digress though. I really enjoyed this one. These are books I literally sit down and read in one sitting. I literally pick it up pick up the book and read it one sitting. I did it with The Housemaid. I did it with The Housemaid Secret. I plan on doing it with this one. I took it to work today thinking I was going to start it, but I did not because I realized that I'd like to read these in one sitting because it makes the enjoyment of the reading so much better. It makes my time reading it so much better to just sit down and for about an hour, for about 2 hours, because I read pretty fast. So for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, devour this book. I should time myself and see how long it actually takes me to read this. Because it's not long. Like, this is 300, 350 pages. How long is it? 383 pages. This is the longest out of all three, but I still feel like I can read this in like 2 to 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is the last book I have in the series. I really enjoyed it. I will be reading more Freida McFadden. Next section I have up is series that I've started in like 2025 and I have just continued on with in 2026. And again, there aren't very many of these, and I actually own all of them except for one. And then one of them I have decided to DNF, which I decided in my best and worst video that I filmed and uploaded about a week ago. Um, so yeah, that's one less series in here. For this one, we first have up the Perfectly Imperfect series by Neva Altott. I'm currently on book 4, which I don't know the title of off the top of my head right now. I actually can't even remember the title of book 3. What is the title of book 2? Hidden Truths. Hidden Truths is book 2. Ruined Secrets is book 3. I read book 3 earlier. I read books 2 and 3 earlier, I think, this year. Or is it 3 and 4? I don't know. I know I've read about 3 or 4 books in this series. These are all like 200 pages of brought for romance. It's another like mafia romance series. And like I said, they're very quickly reads. Literally, probably most of these are like instant love, like they're instantly in love. Or if they're not instantly in love, they're in love within the last like 50 pages of the book and they're confessing their love or whatever. But I digress. I still really enjoy these. I don't think any of these will ever get like a 5 star. That's just not how this will work for me. I have to have more of a connection in the book with the characters to get 5 stars, but they could get at least 4 stars. And I really like these. Like I said, another like palette cleanser series where like I can sit down, read this in one sitting, and be like, okay, I'm ready for something more actiony because they're 200 pages. Not a lot's going to happen. Next up, we have the Atlas series. I read the Atlas Paradox earlier this year. I'm actually planning to read the Atlas Complex later on, either this month or next month, to finish off the series because I would really like to finish the series and move on to more Olivia Blake. I mean, I could have always moved on to Olivia Blake, but I feel like I need to read her original series before I move on to all of her like standalone stuff. I don't know why. That's just how my brain is telling me to do it. So I need to read the Atlas Complex so I can read more Olivia Blake. But I really enjoy this. I gave it a 4.75, and I cannot wait to see how this series ends and see how we finish it off and see who all dies. Because there's no way that every single character in this book is making it out. There's no way all 6 of my favorite characters and the whole entire world are making it alive by the end of book 3. If Olivia Blake does that, I will be upset in a little way. Next up, we have the Burning Kingdom series by Tulsa Shuri. This is book 1, but I read book 2 this year. I don't know why I didn't grab book 2 off the shelf. Where is book 2? Oh, I read The Eleanor Sword earlier this year. I read The Jasmine Throne like at the end, towards the end of last year. Really enjoyed it. In fact, I did an annotation video on this like a month or 2 ago, and I'm actually probably planning on doing this one for my next annotation video as well. Because I just want to go back to annotating this because I really want this book to be annotated. I digress though. I read this one back in February, really enjoyed it. Cannot wait to read the final book, which is behind me. Another one that I literally have one like book left in it. I have continued on with the Burning Kingdom series, and I would like to finish it in that video that I have now just come up with. Next up, we have the Never After series by Emily McIntyre. Another one that I meant to grab, the book that I'm actually like read. I read Wretched earlier this year, which is the 3rd book in the series. So that makes me marks me halfway through the series exactly because I read three and I still have three unread. I actually have Twisted, which is the next book, the fourth book in this series that I need to read on my shelves that I could like potentially read with you guys in a continuing series vlog. That'd be really nice to kind of like catch up, like read more of, not catch up with, but read more of in the vlog with you. These are just quick, easy reads. I think that Twisted Before is the longest in the series, I believe. I'm not quite sure, don't quote me on that. But these are another like quick, easy, dark romance. They're not retellings, they're reimaginings of like fairy tales. So like book one is a Peter Pan retelling where we're following the villain, Hook and Wendy. Book two was The Lion King. Book three was The Wicked Witch of the West, I believe. What's the name of that? What's the name of that? I don't know. And then I think book four is Aladdin. So I'm actually really excited. I really like this series. I can't wait to read more from it. The next series we have up is the Cat and Mouse series by H.G. Carlton. While I have read the main two installments in the series, there were a couple novellas slash like other stories I need to read. So I read um Addie's great grandmother story. I've read her story, didn't really enjoy it. And then I've also read, so all I have left is the Where's Molly novella left in the series to read, which I don't know when I'll get around to. I'll probably use it as a palate cleanser, but then that'll be like the last book I have set in this world to read. And that'll be it, and I'll be done with it. And I technically didn't have to include this, but because they're all set in the same world and stuff like that, I decided to include it because I have continued on with it. Like if you look on Goodreads, it's like 0.5 or 1.5. Like it's still part of the series, no matter what. And the last series we have in this continued series, which technically I'm cheating just a little bit because I am in the middle of reading book two, but I have continued the House of Devil series. Like I said, I'm in the middle of reading book two. I'm like 600 or like I'm like 500 pages into it. I've been reading it for far too long, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm avoiding finishing it because I know a slight spoiler, and I don't want that. I don't want to get to that part with Loren. If you know, you know. If you've read the series, you know. So I'm avoiding it. But this weekend, my best friend told me I'm no longer allowed to, and I have to finish it with her. She's holding me accountable, and I appreciate her, but that doesn't mean she has to be right. So yeah, I technically am cheating a little bit on this one because I haven't finished City of Salt and Sinners, but I am reading it, and I'm like 70% of the way through with it. Like I literally have maybe even less than 200 pages left of the freaking book to read. So we're counting it. My rule, my video, my rules. And then last but not least, all the series that I have finished this year, which is only one, two, three, four, five series. And I would like that to be at least tripled by the time we get to the end of 2026 in December when I am again filming my series and video to recap everything that I have continued, started, and so on and so forth that we have touched on in this video. But with that being said, let's hop right into the five series that I have finished this year. Only one of them I don't physically own, which makes me feel good about myself because the other four I do physically own. The first series that I finished, or the first series I'm going to talk about that I finished, was Dance with My Demons by, wow, I literally just finished book four like maybe a week ago. Steph Macka. I listen, by the time we got to book four, I was over it, and I admitted this in my best and worst video. I did skim this book. I did skim this book, okay? And listen, it's not my proudest moment, but I just wanted the book to be over. I don't normally skim. I would never skim. Like, I really don't skim. Like, if you know anything about me, I will read every single word in the book, okay? I skim read this book because I was so over it and I just wanted the book to be over with. So I did skim this when I finished Exile, but I still finished it. I don't know if I would ever reread the series. Maybe like go back to it and finish it out and treat it properly. People said I should have done the audiobooks for these. That probably would have made me like them better. So maybe if I go back to reread, I will do the audiobooks for these. But at this moment in time, I don't plan on going back to them. I don't plan on thinking about the series for a very long time. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And the next series that we finished with the duology was the Crimson Moth duology. I read Heartless Hunter earlier this year. I mean, not Heartless Hunter. This is Heartless Hunter. I read Rebel Rich earlier this year. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I did cry when I was reading the freaking book. So yeah, I don't know. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. The like enemies to reluctant, like I don't even know what to call it, enemies to like somewhat friendship to lovers and then back to enemies, and then we start off book 2 with them as enemies and then reluctant allies and then lovers again. That's how I want every single enemies to lovers book. I know that someone said that that's how this goes, like this enemies to reluctant allies to lovers and then back to enemies and then somehow something in the middle of book 2 and then lovers up at the end of book 2. So that has me more intrigued in that series, but I really liked how well it was done in this duology. Next up, we have the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is my favorite series by her, although I technically haven't even finished the Inheritance Games series yet. I still very much prefer this over the Inheritance Games, and you could not get me to say otherwise. So with that being said, I finished this earlier this year. I absolutely saw it. I actually read book 4 as my second book of the year, and it was 5 star. It was a 5 star read. I absolutely loved it. I cannot believe this series was over when I read it, and then to get the news that she's coming out with a 5th book, which isn't much so as like a mystery book as this one is. It's more so my babies getting my other babies together, back together after all these years. But I digress. I still really, really enjoyed it. I cannot describe to you how much I enjoyed it. And I've been very tempted to pick up and reread the series already just because I miss these characters so much and I just want to see what little breadcrumbs I pick up on reread that I did not see the first time when I was reading the series, especially Dean and Cassie's love story. Like that just yeah. I love this. Can you tell? This one I deserve a round of applause for it because by the time I read the last book in the series, I had read the first book in the series 3 times and the second book in the series twice before I ever moved on to book 3 and 4 in the series. And that is a Twisted series by Analog. I finally finished. I read book 4 in June. I finished it in June at least, or I started in June. I don't know. Whatever it may be, I read book 4 in June. I really fucking loved book 4. And I feel like upon a reread, when I'm not slightly slumping or feeling a slump coming on, it could be a 5 star read. I did post a ranking video on TikTok of ranking these. So if you would like, you can go watch those. It'll be linked down below as always. But this one I really, really enjoyed and cannot believe it took me so long to finish the series. But I, again, already miss these characters. I miss Ava. I miss Stella. I miss Bridget. Jules, not so much. I miss Alex, my grumpy boy. I miss Reese. Josh. And I miss Christian, my boy Christian. Seeing all of them come together, like all the boys come together and hang out in book 4 was so good to see, but also seeing the girls get to hang out as well. Found family, one of my favorite things ever. And they have found their little family and this friendship that they have going on here. And then this is literally the most recent addition to this list. Before, when I made this like list, this series was not on here. This was actually on my started but not continued. But I finished book 2 in this duology last night. And that is the Sunbear duology by Aiden Thomas. I finished, like I said, book 2 last night. You were seeing this before my continuing series log, which is going on pause, so I can do this very impromptu 24-hour without me I'm going on here. Okay, like it's very impromptu. It was not in the books. But I digress. I say that a lot now that I think about it. Oh well. But this one we have um finished it. I'm so excited. I read this originally like a couple of years ago, but then I didn't really remember anything about it. And I went and bought book two at the end of last year with the intentions of rereading it. And I finally got around to rereading it in April. And I read book two and finished book two just last night. I read in literally 2 days, started it on Sunday, finished it last night. And I really fucking enjoyed it. This is one of my new favorite all time duologies that I will never shut up about. I love the representation. I love the characters. I love the plot. I love everything about it. I love the narrators for this. If you are to read this, I would definitely listen to the narrator, like listen to the audiobook, strictly because this is Spanish. So like this is Spanish inspired. And the narrator pronounces them in the correct accent, and it makes it so much better than I would pronouncing it in my very much English American accent, where you have this authentic Hispanic person and narrating this book with Hispanic characters and names and food dishes and locations and all of it. Just listening to the audiobook will make your experience so much better, and I definitely recommend it. And I'm so happy that I finished this off last night. There you have it, guys. There's like a 30 something series that I have started, continued, finished, and so on and so forth. I cannot believe I have read this many series. Like looking at like all the books I have here, and then all the ones I don't even own physically that are written on this paper, and how many I have gotten through is kind of insane. The way we kind of got like smaller as we went on for this is kind of crazy. Hopefully, by the end of the year, they'll be more evenly spread out. Obviously, you won't see a lot of these series again because there's for me to DNF them. There's potential for me to not even continue on with them and just completely forget about them, whatever it may be. I know you won't be hearing about my finished series anytime soon, and then there are, like I said, a couple ones that I could just DNF here and there. But this is everything that I have read, every series and everything. And this also marks the end of the mid year content. I hope you guys have enjoyed the 3 uploads a week we have been doing throughout this. We are going back to our regularly scheduled 2 days because I have been struggling to get these videos up on time when they're supposed to get up. Okay, and that's why I went down in 2 days like a month or two ago when I went back down to 2 upload days because I was struggling to get a third video up every week. But I digress. As always, I hope you have a great day, evening, night, morning, afternoon, whatever part of words we're having it in. If you've read any of these, you want me to put any of these on a priority list, whatever it may be, let me know in the comments down below. Also, down below in the description, we my link tree for my Goodreads, Fable, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. So you can go check it out and follow me, and we can chat and you can catch up with me when I'm not here. And with that being said, I am going to go nonverbal because I am losing my voice, and I would like to have my voice by the time I go to work tomorrow. And so we're going to go nonverbal for the rest of the night. And so, with that being said, I will see you in my next video. Bye.